Now, it's important to note that the FDA does not approve compounded medications. So the question of whether it's FDA approved or not is moot or irrelevant when it comes to compounded medications, because the FDA does not approve specific compounded medications for certain indications. What the FDA does is it includes a list of medications that are eligible to be compounded. Enclomiphene citrate is a drug that was developed by Repros Pharmaceuticals under the brand name Androxyl. It actually went through phase 3 clinical trials for FDA approval, and before that process was completed, the company was purchased by Allergan and the drug was shelved. This is a common thing that happens in the pharmaceutical industry depending on the priorities of the companies. However, enclomiphene citrate is 62% of an existing FDA-approved drug called Clomid or clomiphene citrate. Clomiphene citrate has been FDA-approved since 1967 and has a very long history of use along with other SERMs or selective estrogen receptor modulators such as tamoxifen, trimethoprim, raloxifene, and for the treatment of infertility in both women and off-label in men. As a result of this, enclomiphene citrate is allowed to be compounded because it's a component or an ingredient of an already FDA-approved drug that we well know and is well characterized, which is clomiphene citrate. That is why enclomiphene citrate is allowed to be legally compounded. In fact, the FDA has reinforced this. Bulk drug substances that are under evaluation are legally allowed to be compounded by compounding pharmacies and allowed to be prescribed off-label by physicians if it's clinically justified. On September 29, 2023, the FDA updated its bulk drugs substances nominated for use under evaluation. The FDA specifically mentions enclomiphene citrate along with another drug, pregnenolone, that we utilize in our testosterone protocol, along with a lot of other compounds that you may be familiar with, including creatine, melatonin, and even aloe vera. So there's a lot of confusion on the internet because some people are saying that the FDA banned enclomiphene from being compounded. This is actually a misunderstanding. What happened in 2022, the Pharmacy Compounding Advisory Committee put a vote about whether it should include enclomiphene along with some other substances into the bulk drug substance list permanently. If you understand what the PCAC does, is that they're simply an advisory committee. They don't enforce or dictate what the FDA does. It's their job to simply advise. And historically, almost no substances that they vote on gets permanently included into that list. It's almost like trying to be nominated into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Only a few sort of surefire bets are put in there. Now, if there's evidence that something is unsafe, the FDA will put it on a do not compound list. Enclomiphene was never put on that list, and so it was never banned, contrary to popular notion on the internet, for use at all. Instead, as I mentioned, on September 29, 2023, well after that vote, the FDA specifically included enclomiphene citrate under its bulk drug substances under evaluation, making it legally able to be compounded.